It's Jan's Small Business Spotlight with Jan Friend.
Oh, yeah. We're taking care of business once again. You are listening to Jan's Small Business Spotlight. I'm Jan from the Fernley News Network. Find us online at fernleynews.com for all your breaking news and weather. To find local businesses and services, check out our business directory at fernleybusinessdirectory.com. Hello. They messed me up today. Sorry, guys. Hey, this segment sponsored by Liberty Fitness, teaching strength through discipline. And you're going to love it because I will have them back on shortly. Call us with questions for our guest anytime through our live broadcast by calling 775-404-1115. Text us at 775-737-2344 or use the chat box at biggestlittleradio.com. Today, my guest is Toni Suttie. Did I say that right?
You said it right, Toni Suttie. Yep.
All right. Toni is the president of Integrity Casting with studios in both California and Nevada. She's worked in the entertainment industry most of her life, casting talent for major Hollywood pictures and independent features. She also casts for voiceover, promotional TV services, commercials, reality TV, music videos, video games, and live events. In doing so, she has enjoyed meeting and working with both first-time filmmakers and Oscar-winning producers. So for over 30 years experience in the entertainment industry, Toni is experienced casting director, and she's an instructor. She's a lecturer, having worked with talent from ages 4 months to 104 years.
Yes.
Toni, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Actually, it's 40 years now I've been in the business. I think you probably have an old piece of information.
Yeah.
I can't believe that it has been 40 years.
Wow.
And every day I'm going, wow.
Yeah. Toni also has a Pay It Forward project, and we'll be discussing that too. So let's get to who's Toni.
Wow, I'm a complex person.
Everybody likes to know who's who and where are you from and all that good stuff. So where did you come from in the beginning?
Right. Well, I'm born and raised in Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. Spent my first 33 years there. Raised my two children for half their life in Silicon Valley. And it just became, too overwhelming. And I wanted more of a relaxed life. So I went on a road trip with my mom to Reno.
Wow.
That's how I got here, believe it or not.
A road trip.
We just did a weekend road trip, and we ended up staying at the Fitzgeralds, and she was doing her gambling, and I decided to, just drive on 80 and kind of see the sights. And I ended up in Fernley, Nevada, and I remember thinking to myself, what is a Fernley? Coming from Silicon Valley to the melting pot to a small, quaint, awesome little town.
Right.
I found a beautiful little piece of property that was not too far from the Truckee River, and I had a house built, and that was in '96. So I've been here ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were here a few years before I was, because I had originally gone through Fernley a few times because we were coming up from California going to Sand Mountain.
Oh.
And I really liked Fernley when we went through it.
Yes.
So, but I was raised in Reno, so. When I got tired of California, I went back to Reno and went, it's too much.
I don't even think I had seen snow until I moved to Reno. And I remember the first day, my first rental property in Reno for my studio was Bob Bennett's place on Main Street, actually where the radio station is. And I remember it snowing. I had a window and I was like a kid. I ran outside in the middle of a casting session and just did twirls.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started there. And, I brought my children out here. I wanted them to be able to, make tree forts and have a big garden and just appreciate the small things in life. They grew up. They moved back to the Bay Area. My son Nicholas is now in San Francisco, and Julia, my eldest, is in San Francisco or in Southern California, and I remain here in Fernley. Yeah.
Well, it's not really that far.
No.
As far as, a day trip or visiting, you're not that far from them and they're not that far from you.
No, absolutely. They have busy lives. They don't get to come out much, but this will always be home for them. Yeah.
Great. So when you got here, what did you decide to do?
Let's see. Well, I opened up Integrity Casting Nevada. I did have Integrity Casting California in Santa Clara for so many years. And I started getting calls to do castings here in Nevada, and I wasn't licensed. So I needed to license, and so I did. I became state and city licensed. And then I got my studio. I stayed in Fernley until 99, and then I moved my studio to Reno in 2000. And my studio's been in Reno ever since. So 17 years there and just a few years in Fernley. It was just easier for the clients to, to meet with me there. So.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's more of a hub point. Everybody knows where Reno is at, and it's a lot easier to get to.
A lot of clients just didn't want to make that short trip. To you and I, it's nothing to drive back and forth, but to them it was quite a long distance.
Yeah, it's a fast 70 miles, and a few minutes to Reno.
Right. Great relaxation time is what I call it.
Oh, yeah. Just listen to the radio or pop in your tunes and just go.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. So I wouldn't imagine there's a whole lot of, you think of, Southern California and Hollywood and everything as the film capital. I imagine there's a lot going on up here, but I really haven't. It hasn't gone into my head that,
when people think movies,
how much is available
they
here.
don't think Reno or they don't think Tahoe.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, the movie business loves Reno, Tahoe. It's so beautiful, and they have so many different sceneries and opportunities to do everything from gaming spots to doing beautiful shoots with cars up in the mountains in Tahoe to our Pyramid Lake right here.
Yeah.
So I don't currently have a studio in San Jose. I had 3 different operational studios that I was working out of, and it was becoming too much for me. So I kept Reno on Washington Street, Washington and First, and now I rent studio space. So when I'm in the Bay Area, I rent the Chabot College studio, and then when I'm in LA, I work out of ATB Studios. So it's just so much more manageable for me now. Yeah. But I love it here. This is great. And yes, there is work coming from Reno. I wish there were more, but it's getting busier now that everything's changing. It's not so much a gaming town now.
Right.
It's more becoming a small little Silicon Valley technology area. And
Yes, it is.
It's nice.
And they've got a lot of art projects going downtown too. So,
Yes.
anytime you get into the arts, you're going to get into your field as well.
Right.
Correct?
Yes, there's the wine walks and all of the different fun adventures that they have along the Truckee River. So sometimes we get to cast for those kind of things. But mostly it seems like television and film is my area of expertise. So people call me on that more than anything.
Right. So how do you prep people? You do instructions classes or
No, I'm not
anything
licensed to
like
be a
that?
school. I'm strictly a casting agency.
Okay.
So I'm licensed and bonded by the state. So what I do is I work for directors and producers. They hire me, pay me a fee to find the 5 best actors for each role. So if a client's calling me for a film, they'll send me the script, and then I go ahead and read it, and I figure out who I think would be best for a role. I audition them, and then ultimately I show them to the client, the audition piece, and then the client picks who that person would like to hire. So that's kind of my area. As far as teaching is concerned, sometimes we do have workshops, and that's fun, and I like to do things for the community, so I'll do my manners and etiquette classes and things like that here.
Okay. Hey, we've got a question for you.
Okay.
We've got Nick S., and he wants to ask you, he's thinking about becoming an actor. What is the best way to get my foot in the door?
Good question. I would say stay away from the modeling schools. If you really want to get involved in the business, look for people that actually get work. So I would say go to casting studios, but you're going to need to learn your craft. So, look into going into some sort of parks and recreation centers, and they have some great classes. You might want to go to, an acting school, and they have many of them in Los Angeles that focuses on just acting for film and television. But the modeling schools are the ones that come into town, set up shop at a casino, and tell everyone to come to an audition when really it's a sales event for a class.
Right.
So be skeptical.
And that does cost a lot. Years ago, I was almost, wrapped up into that, and I'll tell you, you end up spending a lot of money. It's like, okay, you have to have pictures and photo shoots and this and that, and you pay, and you pay. And
well, you could pay up to $10,000.
Yeah.
And really, to start in the business, I think you need seed money of about $1,000. You're going to need to get headshots, and you're going to need to get resumes, and you need to know how to audition. So, Nick S., I would go ahead and look into local acting workshops with casting directors in your area if they're available.
Yeah. This is interesting. It's somebody evidently that knows you. I haven't got a name on it, so this is. Have I got a name? Oh. Is it Adler? Adler?
Oh, Donnell Adler. She's in
Yes.
New York. Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Donnell, if you're
Yeah.
listening.
She just texted you with tons of praise here. It's unbelievable. She
is special. Donnell lived in Reno, Tahoe, and worked with my studio, and now she's kind of a movie star of sorts in New York. She was on Sesame Street yesterday. I watched you yesterday, Donnell, live. But anyway, she's very important to our studio. A lot of our talent have gone on to become celebrities, and it's just like they're my babies, and I'm so proud of them. She's one of those.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's definitely thanking you. And if anybody wants to read it, it's a little lengthy, but not too bad.
Thanks, Donnell.
On the chat, right?
This one was texted to Jay Rodriguez.
Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and tell everybody, and let's see if we can make Toni blush. Okay. Toni Suttie is one of the first professionals to encourage me as a young and aspiring actress. I've known her for half my life and have the honor of encouraging other young, new actors, the way she did me. Her spirit and generosity is unwavering, as is her professionalism. Anyone who has the privilege for working with her, just knowing her, you'll never want to go back to anything less.
Oh, she just loves me. That's all.
So
I love her
sweet.
too. Thank you, Donnell, very much.
So sweet. So, have you got anything coming up for the Reno area?
Yeah, well, there's a few projects that I've been bidding on. Nothing that is actually signed deals on yet, and so I don't announce anything until it's actually signed, sealed, and delivered. We're hoping to bring in more movies into the Reno Tahoe area. We have a couple of incentives that have been passed that will help financially with folks coming here to film versus going to New Mexico or Los Angeles. So we're working on that. And so my job is to try to bring as many of my Los Angeles contacts into Reno that I can so they could fall in love with the area like I have. I can't imagine quality of life anywhere better than here. Really.
There's so much here. It's so diverse.
It is.
It's
and
not,
the people.
It's not anyone listening that's far away. Remember, this isn't a flat desert here. We have tons of mountains around us. We have everything from desert to sand dunes to Lake Tahoe and the pine trees and everything in between. Beautiful rivers. One thing too is in the industry, people that have gorgeous houses sometimes rent them out in a certain area.
Yep. Absolutely. We use houses, we use cars, we even cast dogs. I was working with a friend who was working on the Legally Blonde films eons ago, and I remember being in LA with her in her car, and she saw a few ladies walking their dogs. She rolled down the window and give them cards. They ended up in the film.
I'll be darned.
Isn't that funny? You just never know who you're going to meet and when and where, you know? So
yeah, but they require so much diversity. That's exactly the point there, right?
I think that it's important just to have a passion for acting. A lot of people get into the business because they want to be a celebrity or make the kind of money that they think that these actors make. When in reality, that's not the best way to get involved. You want to go in because you just have a passion for, playing and being a character and enjoying that adventure. I think I'm a big kid. I'm going to be 53 in April, and I'm still 14 in my head.
Oh, yeah.
So I play every day when I work.
Your brain doesn't age, unless you let it.
Right.
I always tell
But
people,
everything else does. I look and wow.
You can grow up, but you don't have to grow old.
Right. I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Grow up, but don't grow old.
You
Good
can
one.
be responsible, but you can still be goofy.
I like that.
For sure. You know what? We have some giveaways.
We
You
do.
brought some.
I brought some goodies for our listeners. We've got 3. We've got, well, I'm an author of a book called Slate Please, The Ultimate Guide to Audition Preparation. And I have an autographed copy.
Let's do that one right now.
Okay. It comes with a Starbucks card, so you can sit in Starbucks and enjoy and read.
Oh, awesome.
And a little tidbit is my daughter did the illustrations in this book. It was my first book. And she did the illustrations when she was 17 at home. She's going to be 34 now. But anyway, so it's a real special book to me.
Okay, so we have this wonderful book, and let's say 3 pops into mind for me. Okay, so we're going to be taking phone calls. We're going to continue to talk here. So give us a call at 775-404-1115 or text 775-737-2344. And caller number 3 is going to get this signed autographed book and
And a gift card for
a
Starbucks.
gift card for Starbucks.
Yay.
Okay? All right, so start dialing. And we'll let you know who the winner is.
Wonderful.
Who the winner is. Okay, well, let's go back to the area here. What is the process that you go through? You know, I mean, you mentioned biddings. You know, when you bid for a thing, how do you?
How do I get the jobs?
Yes. What is the process from start to finish? How does it work?
Well, since I've been in the business a long time, I don't really go out too much fishing, hunting for my jobs. I have the clients that I've had for years, which is really a godsend. So they'll call me and they'll kind of tell me their, the story or their passion for their film or whatever, it is that they want to get across. I kind of see if I get excited about it like they are. And if I do feel like this is something I'm excited about, I mean, I specialize in family friendly films. So it's G, PG, PG-13. I don't really do too much more than that. I think as I've aged, I really just want my grandchildren to be able to come to my productions. So I kind of gear my work toward that. Anyway, I read the script if I've already been really excited about my talk with the director. And then if I really love the story in the script, then I go ahead and call them back. And then we do something called a deal memo. I give them a bid on how much it would cost to audition folks for that film. And then once I get an agreement signed, the deal memo signed, then I start the project. And sometimes it takes 7 years to put a film in place from the day that they call me. And
That's a long
I know.
time. Oh my gosh.
People think, no, it takes 7 years for a film to, and sometimes longer than that, to actually come to fruition for you, to be able to see it out on the film, out on the movies. And sometimes before it even gets to me, it's been in their head for years. I remember Taylor Hackford contacting me years ago, 2006, when we were working on Love Ranch here in Reno. And, this was a passion project for him for 15 years. And it was a story about Joke and 40 and the legalization of prostitution in our state and all of that. So he had been working on that for 15 years before I even talked with him.
Wow. Now, was this a film or more of a documentary?
It's a feature film starring Helen Mirren and Joe Pesci, and they filmed it, I think it was 49% of it here, and the rest they did in New Mexico. New Mexico had some really great film incentives, so a lot of times the films that should be here go there because they've got the financial benefit, and we're trying to change that. So everything could be filmed here, especially when it has to do with our history. That's part of our history.
Now, for our area, what kind of things can we do to promote or talk about or talk to people to help them provide more incentives here than somewhere else?
Well, that's actually what a lot of actors that are transplants from California that live here in Nevada are doing. They're really talking with the right people to try to, work it out to get incentives. And I think we actually have some that are coming. And that's financial incentives. So we're doing everything we can to talk to the right people and seeing if we could work something out, because it's sad that we don't get as many films in as we really should. It's such a great area to shoot. And the people here are so, passionate about filmmaking, Everything from crew to cast. Yeah. So.
But there's, it's really funny because there's a lot of talented people in this area, locally here and regionally that are like, under the wire. Nobody knows they're here, and that's why I like to bring people onto this show.
Right.
And you get a lot of background. It's like, I didn't know that. I didn't know they did this, because a lot of business owners, I just found out that one business owner that I know, that he's going to be on the show, it was a black belt. And it's like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Right.
But it's like everybody has more than one thing going.
Well, people don't generally talk about themselves too much, especially in a personal situation. And so I think a lot of my community here in Fernley probably never knew what I did professionally. They just know me as the bread lady.
The bread lady.
Because I'm always breaking bread, aren't I?
Yes.
Or, doing something philanthropic with regard to giving back, but they never knew what I did to actually pay my bills. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you have that little Pay It Forward program. Let's touch on that for a little bit. What exactly, besides giving things away, does it provide, and what, the inspiration for it, and what you're doing around town with this?
It's really just a healing thing for me. I put together different Pay It Forward Facebook pages in different communities, so people can experience the gift of giving. And I think so many of our children need that now. We have a lot of kids that are growing up entitled. They have so much. They don't really know what it's like to just give and not expect anything back. And so when I moved here, I started this, and at that time we didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have the computer access and social media we have now. But since we do have those mediums, I use them. And, we have a little urgent care food pantry that feeds people that are in need in between the actual food pantry. We have a great food pantry here in Fernley, that Hands of Hope, that Matt and Regina run. And I'm so impressed by them. They work tirelessly on that particular pantry, and then they're pastors of a church in town here as well, Living Faith. But it's the time that they're not open that I kind of fill that need. So in the garage, I have a donated refrigerator and freezer and canned goods, and so we feed about 32 to 40 families every week that are homeless, living in their car, or just they don't have a job. And I was in that spot when I was raising my children. There was times that were very difficult, and I was in line at Regina and Matt's place. So they gave me the inspiration to do that, and so I've been doing it ever since.
Well, they say you have to actually, if you're there at one point in your life, you can truly understand what's going on.
Have to have humility, and I've had many moments of that. This is, owning your own business. You have feast or famine, especially in this business.
Oh, yeah.
So, I've had great successes, and I've had times where, it was peanut butter and bread. And
if you were lucky.
Yeah, top
you might
ramen.
Not have the peanut butter.
Right, exactly. That's expensive. And we do other things too. We do basket giveaways, and we help out those that are in hospice or elders that have nobody to visit. I don't know. I just have a passion for it. My kids are grown. My grandchildren live in another state, so I think it's kind of selfish almost. It's like I've made Fernley my community family. So yeah.
So how do you? A lot of people don't say anything. They're in trouble, but they don't say anything. How do you find these people that need help?
A lot of them, we're filled with pride, and it's embarrassing or uncomfortable sometimes to say, hey, listen, I don't have any food, or my kid doesn't have a coat to wear, and it's 30 degrees out. So I just make it comfortable and approachable, and we're all people, and we all run into situations. I just post and say, if you have a need, I don't even ask questions. A lot of times, you have to show your ID, and you have to, give them specifics on what's going on in your life. I just let their yes be yes. And if they say, I need food, I'll say, I'm so sorry, what's going on? Do you have children? Do you need socks? And then they show up. And the next thing you know, they leave, and with food or whatever it is that they feel they need to survive. There are times that we've helped with paying utility bills and that kind of thing. The community comes together and really donates a lot. We're really lucky to live in a community like this one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things going around in town, for help. Like you mentioned, the
Yes.
food pantry.
Mm-hmm.
There's other entities in town that are nonprofit organizations that are business people or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and they're getting books and pencils and, backpacks together, getting them to
Yes.
school, or dictionaries or books. And there's a lot of help here.
Yeah. You don't find that very often. It
No.
really is a community of family. And that's what I say. Oftentimes people, we have the big stores in town that say, are you a 501c? I think I said that right. I'm not. I'm just a middle-aged grandma doing her part.
Yeah, you're just out there doing your thing. I mean, what do you need a nonprofit for when you're giving everything away, right?
I don't have, I don't have that. So, no, generally it's not money that's given. It's donations of food and items for people. And we pay it forward that day. So yesterday we had somebody, an anonymous person, donate 3 boxes of books for homeschool purposes.
Great.
And, that's huge money that they invested, but they didn't need it anymore. So we were able to pay that forward within an hour from the time that it was received on the doorstep. So it's really satisfying to go to sleep knowing that maybe just a little bit of my heart was reached out. I reached out and gave it to somebody else in that kind of way. So we have a lot of great people here.
Yeah, there are definitely. Why don't you, as far as integrity casting, I want you to give all the information that they need to get a hold of you if they're interested in commercials or acting, or to find out what's going on. Where do they look? Who do they call?
Okay, wonderful. Yes, if you're interested in being an extra, or if you're interested in pursuing acting professionally, feel free to call our studio. The phone number is 775-322-1515. That's 775-322-1515. You can always go to integritycasting.com and message us, or you can find me on Facebook, and you can just look for Integrity Casting, message us there. We handle talent that are as young as, like you said, brand newborns even, all the way up to 100, I think, is our oldest talent now. And so if this is something you want to do for fun or to make a little extra money, give us a call. Yeah.
Now, satellite programs, I noticed that Biggest Little Radio had a class for voiceovers and things
Yes.
to kind of help with it.
Well,
Yeah,
I
right?
love our DJ here in town. Jay Rodriguez is so special, and he's so smart, and he does such a great job. I hired him to be our voiceover coach, and so we're going to continue that. We did one a couple weeks ago. It was very successful, and everyone loved it and has been calling saying, I need more voiceover.
When's the next one, right?
I know. So I'm working that out, he's so busy. But that's for people that are interested in doing cartoon voices or character voices or narration. So he kind of goes from basics all the way up to actually having them on air, which is so invaluable to actually work in the studio. So we'll be doing more of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Anything else like that or you just
Yes, we have workshops on occasion. If they go to integritycasting.com or hit our Facebook page, they'll find out what's going on, and they can come into the studio and meet with me, and I can kind of fill them in that way too.
Wonderful. We're almost out of time. Is there anything last minute you want to
You know
get
what
out
I'd
that
like to
you
do
really
is
lit?
I would love to give one last gift basket out too.
Okay.
It has my homemade bread. It's jalapeno
I know,
bread.
I'm looking at it. It looks so good.
And then we've got some great coffee in here too. It is chocolate hazelnut and peanut butter cup.
Yum.
And we also have a couple of DVDs and some wonderful brownies. So we'll go ahead and have the third. No, you did 3
I
last
did 3,
time.
yeah.
Let's have the 9th caller or person who texts get this basket.
Yeah, and you did all this, and you can use the basket.
Yeah, it's
you
cute.
know, this is a huge basket. You got to see this, you guys.
I don't do anything small.
We didn't take a picture, but this is definitely you need to call or text. So call 835. No, don't call that one. Call call 404-1115. That's the that's at the station here. Oh, that's for this phone? Okay, we got another number. Call 575-7777.
575-7777. That's an easy
Maybe
one.
hear it ring, maybe you won't.
That's an easy one.
Okay. Well, it's about time. We got to run. We got to have Toni back on because there's so much stuff we didn't talk about.
I'd love to come back on when I'm working on a casting and maybe share that with everybody. And
yes, that would be absolutely
wouldn't it be fun to do a casting here at Renegade?
Yes, yes. Especially for voiceovers or whatever. Get everybody on the mic, take turns. Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for joining me today. Thanks everybody for listening in, calling in, texting us. We've got some special messages that we're not going to do on the air. They're strictly for Toni. So, I'm Jan, owner of Fernley News Network. Find us in one place, breaking news, weather, plus instant weather and road conditions. The main website for me is fernleynews.com. You can also find us at Fernley News on Twitter and Fernley News Network on Facebook. Our Facebook page is the one you want to check for breaking news and weather, road conditions, road closures, and accidents. We don't like accidents, too many boo-boos. Bent fenders are not a good thing. If you'd like to be a guest on this program or sponsor the segment, you can email me at radio@fernleynews.com or call 775-835-3582. You can also call the station at 775-404-1115. Again, to my guest, Toni Suttie, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
To our sponsor, Liberty Fitness, teaching strength through discipline. Until next week, stay safe, stay informed, and keep your dial tuned to 101.3 FM.